how to improve your essay. In this tutorial, we're going to look at a typical essay answer for task 2, and I'm going to go through it and show you how we can improve it and the mistakes. I wrote the actual introduction and the paragraph 2, body paragraph 1, paragraph 2 in the essay, and I wrote it in a specific way. Basically, I wrote it terribly, and what I'm going to do is go through and correct it, okay? And it's grammatically perfect. However, there's lots of mistakes related to academic writing, related to being succinct, related to like the language used and the vocabulary, and basic components for professional or formal high quality band 7, 8, 9 style writing. So let's first have a look at the question. Now, I would strongly recommend you get a pen and you start writing this down, because it's going to be 10 times easier for you if you see the actual question in front of you and the answer, and you can have a go at editing it yourself. Alright? So here's the question. Employment is becoming an increasingly elusive goal for many graduates. Some say universities are failing in preparing students for the future, whereas others argue there is a fundamental fall in the caliber of graduates. What are the reasons for this, and has the quality of graduates dropped? So it's a 2-question IELTS task 2. So one paragraph for the reasons and another paragraph answering the other question: has the quality of graduates dropped? Right, so let's have a look at this introduction. Once again, I want you to write this down and then pause it and have a look. Also remember to compare it to the question just to see if it's actually on the right track, because as you know from your introduction, then you're going to build your essay, and if you get the introduction wrong, you're probably going to get your next few paragraphs wrong as well. So start writing. Nowadays, in the current modern, increasingly competitive society, there are many challenges to face for the global citizen. Jobs are increasingly difficult to find. University is more popular than ever, and thus makes employment in the job market difficult. In this essay, I will talk about the reasons why this is so, and hopefully convince you with my excellent reasons. First, I will discuss why employment is increasingly difficult. Then I am going to speak about globalization in general, because I think it's really, really relevant. So hopefully you've written that down, and now I want you to pause it, have a look, edit it, and edit it for relevancy, for redundancy, for check if it's succinct, if it's concise, and then we will go through it together. So the first sentence: nowadays, in the current modern, increasingly competitive society, there are many challenges to face for the global citizen. So here, what I would do if I were correcting this, and this is what I do with the sentence guide, by the way. If you go to IELTSPodcast.com and you click on the sentence guide, you have the opportunity to send me your essay, of course once you've bought the pack, and this is what I do. I'll go through and I will improve the essay. So in this case, in this sentence, we have nowadays, in the current modern, increasingly competitive society. We've got 3 words that say the same thing: nowadays, current, and modern. All of them are expressing a thought that is essentially very similar, and one word would be sufficient. Okay, another error is so let's reduce it, and we could say in the modern society, or in a modern competitive society, there are many challenges to face for the global citizen. Okay, is it necessary to say global citizen? Are there any citizens that aren't global? Probably not. So we can just say citizen. It's surplus to requirement. Okay, now probably the biggest sin that we have here, the biggest problem, is that the sentence, even though it's badly written, even worse, it doesn't correspond to the question at all. It's got nothing to do with, well, hardly anything to do with employment and graduates and the quality of the graduates. It's got absolutely nothing to do with it. It talks about society, but society is practically linked to everything. So it's a completely irrelevant sentence. It's what I call a generic copy-paste sentence, and the examiners can spot it. Okay, what you need to do is tailor it and adapt it to your actual question. So we could say, in an increasingly competitive labour market, opportunities are said to be difficult to find, especially for higher education students. Now this corresponds to the question. Okay, now in this case, I know that I said that I was going to edit it and improve it, but that first sentence, because it was completely irrelevant, I decided just to delete it and suggest a more relevant sentence that corresponds. Now, sentence number 2. Jobs are increasingly to find. A 6-word sentence, often called a choppy sentence, especially if you use a few of them in succession, because it makes your essay sound choppy. In general, it's best to use a variety, a short sentence, maybe a long sentence, and just put in a short sentence when it's necessary. Okay, but the main problem is that we've used increasingly. We used it twice because we had it in the sentence, in the previous sentence, and then we're using it again. Okay, yeah, another factor was that it could be easily linked to the next sentence in the essay. Okay, because it wasn't sort of like a separate thought, it was connected. Okay, so let's have a look at sentence 3. University is more popular than ever and thus makes employment in the job market difficult. What's wrong with this? I'll read it again. University is more popular than ever and thus makes employment in the job market difficult. The problem is it's not coherent. It doesn't make hardly any sense. Grammatically, it's fine, but let's just analyze it. It says university is more popular than ever and therefore makes employment in the job market difficult. Why? Why would the popularity of university make employment difficult? Okay, now there is a kind of link, but what we need to do is link all of the sentences together. The sentence 2, which was jobs are increasingly difficult to find, and sentence 3. Okay, and then we can express a more coherent thought. So this is how I would arrange it. I would say university is more popular than ever. Therefore, more higher education students or higher educated students means graduate jobs are increasingly difficult to find and thus makes employment in the job market difficult. Okay? That last sentence would be optional, but the main thing is university is more popular than ever, therefore more, I wouldn't have said actually higher students, I'd have said graduate. More graduate students means graduate jobs. Yeah, I've got a bit of repetition there, so maybe we could just say more students means graduate jobs are increasingly difficult to find. More students finishing university means graduate jobs are increasingly difficult to find. Okay, and thus makes employment in the job market difficult, but that one was optional. To go anyway. This was the final sentence that I am eventually changed the I linked both of those last two sentences, sentence 2 and 3, and I put, due to the popularity of university, there are more higher education students than ever before. This increases the competition for graduate opportunities, essentially making the labour market more difficult to enter. Alright, so let's have a look. And also, I hope you've picked up on the fact that there are a lot of collocations here and topic-specific vocabulary. At the end of the tutorial, I'll show you the podcast. I'll show you the collocations, and this is another thing that you should be paying attention to, because collocations basically means points. Now let's have a look at sentence 4. In this essay, I will talk about the reasons why this is so, and hopefully convince you with my excellent reasons. Terrible. Terrible. Why is that terrible? Let's see. First of all, I will talk. We should avoid personal pronouns and just use them basically for expressing our opinion when it's absolutely necessary. So, the second problem, talk. Are you going to talk in your essay? No. We can use more sophisticated language or more accurate language, and we could say this in this essay I will discuss, or this essay will discuss, or this essay will explore. Okay? And what we've done there is we've shifted the focus from I will talk, and we'll say this essay will explore. Yeah? And we've changed that, we've extracted the personal pronoun and constructed it in a more formal academic way. And then we say the reasons why this is so. What? That doesn't say anything. There is nothing communicated in that phrase there. In this essay, I will talk about the reasons why this is so. There is no content. There is no value there. Okay? And to make it worse, yeah, it says at the end of the sentence, you say, and hopefully convince you with my excellent reasons. And there has been no reasons there. So, and once again, we've used the personal pronouns. We said, hopefully convince you, as in you over there reading my essay, as in you with my excellent reasons. So, this is it's terrible, basically, because it sounds like self-promotion, and we really should be aiming for a more academic tone. And also, we've repeated the word reasons twice. So, if I were to transform this and correct this, I would say, this essay will explore the difficulties encountered by job seekers. That's one reason, and I've totally avoided the word reason, and I've just put down very specifically one of the reasons why, and provide examples from American academic studies to prove arguments. How much better does that sound compared to convince you with my excellent reasons? It's completely different, and this is the difference between a band 5 and band 8 or 9. Okay, so, and also you will see job seekers, a collocation, job seekers. Let's see which are the ones. Academic studies, prove arguments. Okay, collocations, use them, pick up points. Let's see then. Now, the next sentence. First, I will discuss why employment is increasingly difficult. Terrible. Okay, first of all, it says I will discuss, and we've got personal pronouns. I will. We've already said. Yeah, and so the sentence, first I will discuss why employment is increasingly difficult. This is very basic, and it repeats a concept that we've already mentioned before, so it's not coherent. We're just repeating the same material like for the second or even third time, and this is a waste of time. It's a waste of space, and it's absolutely not necessary. Now let's have a look at the next one. Then I am going to speak about globalization in general because I think it's really, really relevant. Hopefully you'll be able to spot at least 3 problems with that sentence. Okay, I'll go through it quickly. 1, personal pronoun, I. Avoid it. It doesn't sound academic. Second problem, I am going to. This tense, going to, is used more for your spoken English. In academic and informal writing, we use will, especially for your letter writing and business letters. We use will. Okay. Once again, the same problem as before. We said, I'm going to speak about. You're not going to speak. That's not very accurate. You're going to communicate, or you're going to discuss, or you're going to explore. Okay. Those are accurate words. Those are relevant. But speak, you're not going to talk. You're not there. And then it says speak about globalization. Going to speak about globalization as well. And by using speak, we have to use the preposition about. And we're basically using 2 words. Whereas if we'd have just said, I will explore, we've reduced it to 3 instead of 6. And like I said before, actually, we wouldn't use I will explore. We would say, this essay will explore. Okay? But because I'm taking this on a sentence by sentence basis, I would have actually just completely reworded it to avoid repeating this essay will explore. Okay? I would have just grouped those concepts together. Okay. Anyway, in the end, I decided to say this essay will consider. Okay, and then later in the sentence we've got speak about globalization in general because I think it's. What's the problem here? The first problem, I think. Personal pronouns again, completely unnecessary. Then we've got I think it's really, really relevant. It's a contraction. We don't use contractions. Contractions are for spoken English, not for your formal academic writing. So we would have to put the full form. I think it is really, really relevant. And once again, repeating the word twice, really, really relevant, to emphasize, is something that we do in spoken English. But in academic writing, we never do this. What we would do is we would say extremely relevant or highly relevant. So just to summarize, no personal pronouns. Do not use wordy expressions to speak about. Use the correct tense, will. Avoid the personal pronouns, yeah, and try and keep it as sophisticated as possible. So avoid repetition, especially when we come in to emphasize something. Let's see then. Okay, that was the introduction, which we just finished. In the next tutorial, we'll go into paragraph 1 and completely edit it from the beginning to the end. And what I would do, if I were you, I would copy it down. Okay, I'll read it to you. I want you to copy it down and at least try to go through it and identify some of the problems that we've just discussed when we were editing the introduction. Okay, then I'll just read the first paragraph, the second paragraph. I want you to write it down and then edit it, okay? Let's go. Nowadays, it is a well-known fact that it is impossible to get a job immediately after finishing uni because everybody is looking for the same positions when they graduate, making it more difficult, and the number of graduates is increasing. Lots of graduates doing and finishing uni makes it tricky to get a job. For example, my cousin did his final year and finished uni but is still doing work in the local Burger King in Leeds. So if you didn't get that, just rewind it, pause it, all the rest of it, copy it down, try and edit it. And if you want me to personally go through your essay and check it and tell you how to improve it, give you the feedback, give you the information, tell you where you're going wrong, correct it grammatically and all the rest of it, go over to IELTSPodcast.com and have a look at the essay corrections and also have a look at the sentence guide. Been getting some amazing results. Lots of students sending me emails. Thanks Ben, I took the exam 13 times, so happy, all the rest of it. So if you want to do it, it's easy and it's much better than paying $300 and basically saying adios to the money. So strongly recommend having a look at that. Okay, and yeah, keep going. All the best.